When Leonard was shooting some drone footage in the Amazon rainforest, he noticed something bizarre in the river. But he quickly figured out that he was not going to be congratulated for making this discovery. Quite the opposite, as locals were willing to go to extreme measures to make sure it stayed a secret. What had Leonard gotten himself into? Drone pilot Leonard was not 100% about what he had just seen. But judging by what was happening to him, he was never supposed to see it. There he was, hands tied behind his back, being pushed forward by a non-English-speaking local deep in the Amazon rainforest. Leonard expected that he was going to be brought back to the city, but he actually ended up at a very different place, one that he was sure not a lot of people knew the existence of. What was this doing here? And more importantly, what was he doing here? Then unexpectedly another man got in Leonard's face, a man that spoke English. Only when he started explaining what was happening did Leonard realize what kind of trouble he was in. But what did Leonard capture on the drone footage? Why was he not allowed to see this, and what were these people going to do to him now? But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the notifications bell so you never miss our upcoming story. In Leonard's line of work, he was used to filmmakers requesting his drone piloting skills to capture aerial footage for the projects he'd been collaborating with them on. For his most recent project, he had been working with a director on an Amazonian rainforest documentary, and he had to admit, he was pretty excited. He had never traveled to the Amazon before, so this was a great opportunity for him. Leonard was assigned with shooting the overhead footage of the forest for the documentary. Production handled his flight and hotel costs, so all he had to do was sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. He assumed this would be pretty similar to his normal gigs, so he was not at all prepared for what he was about to catch on tape. In order to get the best angles and most verdant treetops, he needed to be relatively deep within the rainforest. After scouting out different locations, he decided on a small village to stay close as possible to while working, as they offered the best views. It was an exhausting effort. There weren't a lot of accommodations within a fair distance, so it took a bit of research to narrow down a suitable hotel. In addition to his housing struggle, he was also having trouble getting to and from his preferred filming location. He had planned on taking public transportation everywhere in the country, but there was nobody willing to take him where he needed to go specifically. He even offered generous fare, but it was no use. Nobody was willing to travel there. Left with no other option, Leonard bit the bullet and rented a car, refraining from telling the company exactly where he planned to take it to. He needed a terrain-friendly car, so he made sure to hint at those qualifications, but kept the real destination under wraps. This was his only choice, and he didn't want to risk getting turned down. The trip into the village took hours, and he didn't arrive until the evening. Thankfully, his company found him a place to stay for the night, and the next day he'd return to his hotel. Leonard was nervous due to the rough ground and narrow roads, but he was able to make it through without a scratch. Unfortunately, this wasn't going to be the hardest part of his journey. Leonard didn't exactly feel comfortable in this place, though. He felt like the odd one out, receiving barely a greeting and have locals gawk at him no matter where he went. Nobody warned him it would be like this. He even felt uneasy at his host's house, exchanging a few words, and then no more for the rest of the night. Wanting the least interaction possible with his host, he quickly thanked them and went to stuff his belongings in the car before heading out into the rainforest for the day. After a while of walking, he found a reasonable place to film and set up his drone, excited for the outcome already. But for some reason, he still couldn't shake the feeling of eyes on him. After a few minutes, Leonard heard a rustle behind him. He quickly turned around and saw a man dart behind a tree, attempting to hide from him. It had to be someone from the village. What were they doing here with him? He kept a tight grip on his drone and called out, "Who's there?" The man poked his head out sheepishly. The man explained that he wasn't trying to hurt him, just look out for him. Leonard was confused. Everyone was so standoffish back at the village. He couldn't understand why anybody would go out of their way to protect him. The man's English was spotty, so Leonard did his best to carry on the conversation in Spanish. Leonard almost started to believe the man when he said he had only followed him to prevent him from being taken advantage of like other tourists. It warmed his heart to know that people actually cared that much about a stranger like him, but he quickly shook that feeling off. This was seeming a little too good to be true. Leonard decided the best way to make sure this man wasn't a threat was to keep him around while he operated his drone. He decided to change the spot in case there were others watching, with the man tailing him, and eventually they reached a spot where his drone could safely rise. He inspected the man's face for a moment, then lowered himself to arrange the drone. doing his best to remain calm but alert. Leonard turned on the drone as the man watched it come to life, looking in awe and confusion. It didn't seem like he had seen one of these drones be operated before. Watching it rise above the trees, dip and disappear, Leonard went quiet for a moment, focused on the visual feedback from the screen on the ground. Leonard shifted his weight casually in front of the screen, trying to obstruct his intruder's view. He wanted to be able to film in peace without having a critical eye glare at him from behind. He could sense a feeling of nervousness emanating from this man, and it put him on edge. He felt as if he had to be ready for something, but he wasn't sure what. While this wasn't the most comfortable situation, Leonard was pleased to admit he was getting a ton of great footage. It had rained heavily last night, so all the greenery was speckled with pleasant droplets of water. He couldn't wait to go home and edit it, far away from any lurking eyes. He passed over a river, marveling at the steady stream and clarity. The director of the documentary would love these shots. As he lowered the drone to get a better look, he noticed something was off with the shadows in the river. There was something long and snake-like wading through it, but he wasn't able to discern what it was. Suddenly, the man behind him gasped and Leonard turned around. He was wielding a stick and coming straight for him. Leonard dove out of the way and covered his face instinctively, but the blow he was waiting for never came. Instead, his drone screen on the ground suffered the impact, with the man striking it over and over until Leonard screamed for him to stop. Deep down, Leonard wanted to get up and beat the man's head in. This was his only screen, he hadn't brought another one. What did this man have against him? He clearly wasn't here to protect him, only to destroy his work. As Leonard tried to collect himself, his assailant tore the drone controller from his hands. But luckily, Leonard was able to place the machine on autopilot beforehand. Now that Leonard was no longer in control of the drone, he knew it was safe where it was, at least. Autopilot kept the drone at a constant hover in one place until the battery drained. Then it would lower it back to the ground. All hope wasn't lost. He just had to get away from this deranged fellow and hide. And when the coast was clear, he'd go find his footage. After fiddling with the controls for a while, the man threw it against a tree in frustration, effectively smashing it to pieces. Leonard attempted to back away slowly, but the man pulled a knife from his pocket and motioned for him to turn around. And the man grabbed his wrists and fashioned them together with a thick piece of rope. So, he came prepared, I guess, Leonard thought. The man pushed Leonard to the ground, mumbling to himself in Spanish. When he asked him why he was doing this, the man grumbled and remarked that it was necessary. Nobody could know what that river housed. It was sacred and beautiful, and if Americans knew, they'd try to take it. Leonard writhed, telling the man that he would just delete the footage. Just when Leonard was about to lose hope, fearing he would die out here, he heard a cry from behind the man and reached to look over his shoulder. Barreling toward them was a young boy, about 12 years old, carrying a large rock, and Leonard ducked to the ground, watched the man get struck once and immediately keel over. Was this day going to get any more bizarre? "Sir," the boy exclaimed, "you need to be careful over here. This is the Giving Serpent's land, and his men would kill you to protect it." Leonard couldn't understand. He'd never heard of such a creature. When he asked the boy what it was, he said, "He keeps our water fresh and land fertile. If anyone messes with it, they're offered as a sacrifice." Leonard felt blessed in the presence of his tiny savior. Leonard abandoned his drone and followed the boy, baffled. "So," he said to the boy, "do people really kill over a myth here?" The boy laughed, shaking his head. "No, sir, it's real. This is the time of day he comes out for offerings." Leonard felt a shiver down his spine. Could that be what he had spotted before everything went wrong? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss amazing tales like this one.